Hey guys, welcome back to How to Roll Dice. I'm Josh, and tonight we are going to be discussing the weekend that we spent at Nova 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago,
which was a really good time, and some sort of changes that are going to be happening with the channel here, particularly related to Bryant chipping in a bit more and sort of covering some fronts that I don't have an experience on. Primarily, as you know, I do mostly board games, and I dabble in RPGs. I say I dabble because on the channel I dabble. In real life, I'm very, very heavily invested in RPGs. But what I don't do a lot of anymore, and I realize this is odd to say with the Blood Bowl team sitting in front of me freshly painted, is play miniatures games. I'm covering War Machine 4th edition, or Mark IV. I keep calling it 4th edition, Mark IV. I keep trying to keep an eye on that because that might be an in for me to come back into the miniatures gaming community. But all of the stuff that I've dabbled in is kind of gone by the wayside.
Yes.
I've tried Infinity, meh. I've tried Malifaux, pretty solid, but meh.
The year we bought Guild Ball, it died.
Yeah, the year we bought Guild Ball, it immediately collapsed. We haven't tried, there's one that we're actually interested in, Marvel Crisis Protocol.
Yep.
We haven't really given it a shot yet, but we're both kind of on the edge of maybe giving it a shot.
I could be persuaded to come on into that.
And I would say on top of the fact that the point I'm trying to make here, before I can make this now sub-point, Bryant is very big into Games Workshop and all of their sort of various properties or franchises, what you want to call it. Warhammer 40k, Age of Sigmar,
Blood Bowl, Necromunda.
30k, which I just recently learned was a thing, with Horus Heresy.
The Horus Heresy.
Yeah. So we spent a good amount of time over the Nova weekend where...
Don't worry.
Right.
I'm going to teach you.
Yes. Well, that's the thing. We spent a good time over the weekend where basically I was just learning about these different things. Not that I didn't know they were out there, but I just didn't have any interest in learning about them. But having the opportunity to actually sit down and talk about them, it seems like there's a ton out there. I know that people like hearing more about the larger brand content like GW, and I don't really cover it because I don't know anything about it. So bringing somebody like Bryant in, who not only plays all of my board games with me, so he obviously has opinions and takes on all of those, but I don't want to say specializes, but has much more knowledge than I do when it comes to GW stuff, which obviously has a huge fan base. Makes sense to bring him in and have him talk about some of that stuff from time to time.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah. So, and then the point that I was going to make is you're also a much bigger Marvel and DC fan than I am.
Yeah.
I've always read Image Comics, IDW, Dark Horse, Evil Inc. You actually know a lot more about sort of the original Golden Era comics, and not to say mainstream it's lame, but Marvel and DC are the biggest chains as far as comics go.
I mean, well, my family grew up, my father and his cousin are huge comic fans and bought comics from the Golden Era, so that's why
it makes sense that you're in there, and I didn't have any of that. I found Spawn when I was probably 12 or 13, and I went sort of the direction of what would probably be called more independent comic publishers, though now much more mainstream than they were back then.
Now.
But anyways, point being, Bryant will be doing more content on the channel, starting with this video where we discuss Nova Open.
Nova Open.
Great time. Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago on the weekends. We went down Thursday night. A little bit of a rough time getting down there, but once we got down there, everything sort of panned out. Yep. We were going down there for two reasons. One, because we wanted to go. It's basically the largest tabletop gaming convention on the East Coast, excluding PAX Unplugged, which is kind of in its own umbrella because they have all the money in the world and name recognition. That's really all we need to say about that.
PAX is PAX.
Yeah, PAX is PAX. It's its own thing. Yes, sure, it's a tabletop gaming convention, but it's kind of cheating, so we're not going to count it.
Right.
So Nova Open, I think, has an attendance of around 3,000.
It was about, I think, 3,000 or 4,000.
I think that's what we had heard. Obviously, it's going to be different. This was their first year back after
the blessings of Nurgle.
The blessings of Nurgle rained down upon the planet, and so obviously there's going to be a slight shift in the crowd, but it was still very solid. You really wouldn't know that it was the first year kind of comeback.
No, I mean, it was a great time. There was a great crowd. Yep. The AOS GT and the 40k GT had a great amount of showing, so that's huge. Good
set of vendors. GW had a proper store there, the actual representatives from the company were there. They did some big releases and some big announcements over the weekend, one of which you actually picked up basically everything for.
Almost everything. Yep, I had to do some reading. I ended up picking up the new Chaos Demon Codex. I ended up picking up the new Chaos Accursed Cultist and the new Chaos Possess.
Yeah, and then I think you said as soon as you got home from the weekend?
Promptly as I got back from spending all that money, I spent some more money and I got the new Chaos Demon Combat Patrol and the older Blades of Khorne Chaos Demon AOS starter box. Yep. So I'm got a nice jump up ahead on doing my demon army.
And I believe you came into the weekend with no intention on running a demon army.
Nope.
Yeah.
Zero intention. I was
just bought into it on the fly.
I was thinking to myself, I'm like, oh, I'll pick up the Codex. The Codex would be fun. Walked away with a Angron Primarch, the new Centurion Marshal, and those 3 other items.
Yeah. And what's cool about that is, I always talk about cool things that you get to take advantage of by going to conventions, other than the fact that there was a ton of, what's it called, Forge World?
Yeah. So whenever GW goes to cons, like they had it over at Gen Con.
They had it
here at Nova.
Yep. I feel like they had more at Nova than they did at Gen Con. Or maybe Gen Con was just picked over.
I think Gen Con was just picked over because remember, it's the VIGs.
But they had a ton at Nova.
So they bring a giant table and they separate it and they bring everything from Forge World for everybody to grab for anything for $30K.
Right. And Forge World, for people like me who didn't know or don't know, are like limited models.
So they're based in they're directly based in the UK. So you can only get them ordering through Forge World.
Right.
And
not available in retail stores in the US at all, for the most part.
No,
at least.
Like 99% of it, no. I mean, right now we got the new Age of Darkness Horus Heresy box that just dropped. I want to say like 2 months ago, 3 months ago, which I probably bought one.
Yep. You and Sawyer.
Yep. Me and my roommate.
Yep.
Both bought a box. I will be running World Eaters. Thank you very much.
So they have a ton of Forge World stuff there. And on top of that, saying that you bought the new Demon Codex and the new Demon stuff, that was just released the weekend of Nova. Like, it was released as a special at Nova. I'm sure you could pre-order it online. Maybe some people got it the same day delivered to their homes.
Most likely.
But as far as physically being able to purchase it in person at a retail store,
I was the first in line. The lights weren't even on in the vendor hall yet.
The guys running the store, literally, because we had become friends with them, were like, you can come by before we open and we'll sell it to you.
They were coming in with coffee and their donuts, eating. And then as soon as they were ready to allow us to come in.
As soon as the register was on.
I was the first one in there. I had the first Codex in my hand and the first Chaos boxes in my hand.
So probably the first person in the world to in person purchase those items.
Without fighting somebody, yes.
Without having to fight someone, yes. Yep. So that's a cool reason to go to conventions like Nova Open, because you can buy things for the first time in the world that nobody else has access to.
They were doing an awesome deal too, that if you bought $250 or more, you got a $50, like very large, very nice numbered print.
Yeah.
For free.
And they're not like grand scale prints where it's like, 1 out of 5,000. I think yours is 1 out of 250.
No, mine's is 33 out of like 330 or something.
Right, but it's a relatively small number. Yeah.
It's a good amount. And
so it's a good collectible.
Good. And it's not even they pick it for you. It's, you spent $250. There's a giant pile right over there. Go hunt down a
whole table of art prints that you can, unlike nice hardback board, not like flimsy rolled up or anything like that, like ready to frame art prints.
Which I'm looking forward to getting a nice frame for it.
Yeah, they're really nice. So, anyways, bought some stuff from the GW booth. I picked up a Blood Bowl team. That's these guys right here. For a couple of reasons. I'm aware of Blood Bowl. I'm not like completely dumb to the entire GW world. I did at one point own a small Tau army somewhere before. Whenever I again, not following GW, I can't even properly describe this, but there was a point in GW, or a 40k Age of Sigmar, before it was Age of Sigmar, where a lot of people were pissed about how the rules got like so simplified and streamlined that, almost like what's happening in Mark IV War Machine right now, that veteran players felt like the game had been like babyified. Like, it was too simple. There wasn't a challenge to it anymore. I remember hearing about when Age of Sigmar came out, there weren't even like point values. You could just kind of like bring whatever you wanted and play the game.
Yeah, that was way before I was even paying attention to it.
Okay, so it was around then, before that happened, that I had bought a good amount of Tau army. Actually, you know what? I have this timeline entirely wrong, and I apologize. This was just before I started playing War Machine Hordes.
Oh.
This was 2005, 2006. I had put together a Tau army thinking that my local game store was running 40k events, 3 Trolls in Chelmsford, Mass. And as I walked in with my almost fully painted, ready to play Tau army to play my first ever game of Warhammer 40k, they were like, oh, we don't really play that game anymore. We play this new game called War Machine and Hordes. And I was like, well, okay. And I don't even know what I did with that army. I honestly think I might have thrown it in the trash. And then immediately went and bought everything that I needed to play War Machine. I actually bought Protectorate first, and then after a few years of Protectorate, realized that dwarves were a thing back when they were literally, you could only buy like 1 Warcaster, a single unit, a solo, and like 2 jacks, and that was all that existed.
Full underdogs.
And played them for the rest of my career with War Machine and Hordes. But
finally got them to upgrade.
The point being, I am aware of GW. I've almost played a handful of their games here and there. And now I own a Blood Bowl team because a couple of my friends are actually into it. Marcus and Travis and possibly Alex. own Blood Bowl teams. I know that you're into it. You own a team.
Yep.
Your roommate Sawyer owns a team.
Yep.
And so I've got a good group of people to play with, and I feel like it might have to offer what I was looking for in Guild Ball.
Yeah, smaller amounts,
scale.
Small scale.
Kind of a skirmish feel.
Yep.
I don't care whether or not it really has that sports vibe to it, but that seems to be, another similarity.
But
to
it
Guild
does.
Ball.
And it does have that nice sports vibe. I mean, you're going to get exactly what you're looking for if you're looking for a smaller scale.
A smaller scale, speedier game.
Yeah.
That's always what I'm complaining about with War Machine and other games. It's just so big and takes so long, and there's so many models. It's a heftier process to play the game than I want, and I feel like Guild Ball might be something that fits that sort of niche that I'm looking for, where it's quick and fun and not so serious. I'm sure some people play it very seriously, but as you can see, I've bought Halflings specifically because I think they look hilarious, and I think they're going to be hilarious to play. I'm not necessarily looking to ever win a game. I just want to have fun playing the game, and I feel like Halflings just perfectly embody the idea of we're here to have fun, not to win.
And I mean, that's really how we're going to play it around with each other anyway.
Right. I mean, maybe we'll play in some local tournaments if we're ever in the mood, but it's mostly casual games between friends. I mean, maybe,
the most part you're going to probably play a lot more competitively at like CaptainCon.
Right, at an actual convention. You bring your team and maybe you sign up for like some kind of a Midnight Madness type thing where you have a bunch of bleary-eyed games between midnight and 4 in the morning just to see how it goes. But yeah, so Blood Bowl purchased. And then this right here is...
this will be the 9th edition Codex.
The core rules for the whole game?
Rule books for the whole game. Yeah. What I did was... I am now slowly dragging Josh over to our side of good model games. And
it's not entirely a drag. I'm like kind of going along, dragging my feet a little bit as I walk in the direction.
Don't worry, I can pick you up. What it is back when Indominus came out, I bought 2 starter sets, and of course we all know that the core 9th edition core rulebook came in there.
I found out literally 2 nights ago. So
yep, I had a literal spare, so I threw it at Josh, and Josh is going to be playing the Leagues of what is it? The Leagues of
something with a V.
Voltan.
Votan? I think it's just Votan. I don't think it's Zoltan. I think it's just Votan, but it's Space Dwarves.
It's Space Dwarves.
Yeah, 40k is bringing back Space Dwarves. They used to be called Squats. And they used to look very, very silly, like cartoonish almost.
Yeah.
Which seems to be, from what I can tell, is something that GW has done with dwarves across all of their games, kind of traditionally. Like the dwarves that we were just talking about in not Age of Sigmar, but when it was Warhammer Fantasy.
Fantasy, but the
dwarves were like very silly. They had like no legs.
Now in
giant heads.
In Age of Sigmar, they are part of. They're the Dispossessed, which are now part of the Cities of Sigmar, which the models are really nice.
I was going to say they actually resculpted, like there's a new model
resculpted, very nice models. But dwarves, like there's like 3 different styles of factions that you can play as dwarves in Age of Sigmar now.
And I don't think Age of Sigmar is one that I want to get into, because if War Machine and Hordes does come back, if War Machine comes back, well, here's the thing: if War Machine comes back, I feel like steampunk is a little too adjacent to fantasy that I won't want to play both.
Yeah.
So I could see doing a single army, a single list in War Machine, and then also doing a single list like Votan. I think it's Votan.
Yeah.
I'm probably getting this wrong. Blame it on me. I don't know the game. Space Dwarves. A single list of Space Dwarves, basically buying the box, like we were saying. One of the cool things, we've already talked about this to some extent because I've been referencing 40k and GW products as I've been talking about the new changes to War Machine Mark IV.
Yeah.
In that a lot of the changes they're making are similar to the direction that 40k has been going for years now. In that you don't buy individual blisters of, a model here, or a unit attachment there, or a small unit, or a solo, a warcaster. You don't buy them like that for the most part. There are things like HQs.
There's HQs.
Some other models that you will buy individually.
Fast attack.
But for the most part, the way you get into playing an army is that you buy a large box, $200, $300, and that comes with 95%.
I wouldn't say 95%. It's going to come with a good amount of a good starting point.
Right.
And then
almost to the point where you could stop with that and play a small game.
You could probably play a small game.
Small, moderate, somewhere in there.
And then, you find out in your codex what you like. I want to add that to my army. So you go and buy that
Pick
model.
up a few things, right.
Right.
Which is exactly what War Machine Mark IV is doing. That you buy you want to start the game, okay, it's $200 for the starter box. You want the upgrade box that sort of adds in a second caster and some new warjacks and a new unit or two, that's another $175.
Yeah,
and it's these large chunks of army instead of like individually cherry picking the things that you want from scratch.
With 40k, you want to roughly like, I think most games are played around like 2,000 points.
Yeah. And so a box comes with what, maybe 2/3 of that?
Maybe, yeah.
Okay.
And then you can buy, like I said, you fill it up with like a couple models. You're gonna have your big vehicles, so those are going to take up a huge chunk of points too, and then you just go from there.
Yeah. And so the cool thing about the new dwarves, that the space dwarves that they're coming out with in 40k, is that again they've done a really good job sculpting these. Something that I've learned from building this Blood Bowl team is that the sculpts and the actual design of the miniatures, like physically themselves, go together really smoothly. The fact that they're all plastic and you can use a plastic cement to actually assemble them, and I could probably pick up any one of these and bounce them off the concrete floor and they wouldn't even shift in how they're assembled. They're not varnished yet, so I'm not going to do that.
So don't do that.
Destroy the paint job. But the fact that they go together that easily and are built with that much like structure to them, and they're that durable, is great. I wish that Privateer Press would go that direction with War Machine Mark IV, but I've already talked to a few people in the chats of my recent videos, and they say that they're not printed in HIPS, which is the type of plastic that you can cement.
Oh, no.
They're 3D printed in either a different type of plastic or a resin-like plastic, so you still have to use super glue, which is unfortunate.
It is unfortunate because the Tamiya.
Yeah, using
cement.
a Tamiya plastic cement for these, we don't use the GW plastic glue or whatever.
I do use the GW plastic glue only because it has a needle applicator, and it is great for larger scale models.
I like the brush applicator on the Tamiya bottle.
Well, the problem is once you get into building larger scale models,
And there's a larger joint.
or there's a huge seam.
It's like painting a whole thumbnail just to get it to, yeah.
So, you use the GW glue, you tack it together, and then after it's all cured, then you run the Tamiya
touch it up
around
with the brush.
and the Tamiya will take away the steam.
That makes sense. But yeah, and I'm certainly not going, I mean, like I said, I'm happy to try Blood Bowl. I think this is going to be fun. I think the Space Dwarves look really cool. Again, I think they're something of Votan.
I think it's Votan.
Yeah.
I have been paying way too much attention right now to Chaos Demon stuff.
Fair. But the models look really nice. The new sculpts look really awesome. They're no longer just like rinky-dink dwarves with like laser rifles.
No,
they're in awesome
models.
body armor and like robo-mech suits and some really cool stuff that I like the aesthetics of a lot.
I'm looking forward to seeing like more of the fluff about them.
Yeah. And so, like we said, the box probably comes with the codex.
No, the box does. I actually watched a video. You can actually watch a really good video from Chapter Master Volric on YouTube.
Okay.
And he can go down the whole list of what's inside of it.
Breaks down what's in the box.
Yep. You get your codex, you get your data sheet, you get your data cards, you get your they have tokens for, I forgot what it was called, but they have 2 sets of tokens.
Special effects on the field.
No,
that.
It's like I'm literally drawing a blank of what they were called. What they were
delicious, tasty fruit tokens.
Delicious, tasty fruit tokens.
I don't even know if you know that reference. That was a real thing in War Machine, in Hordes.
They have a transfer sheet, and then you get your models.
Yeah, and that's probably going to be around $250. Somewhere in that range, plus or minus $50.
Yeah,
they had it at. They had a not to buy. Obviously.
Did a demo.
They had it in a display case with some of the models built and the whole box on display in the display case at Nova, just outside the GW store.
Literally, the way I got Josh to start looking at them was we were driving down the Nova, and I went, "Hey, Josh, I found you an army that you're going to play in 40k." And he goes, "Oh yeah?" And I pull up my phone and I go, "Space Dwarfs," and he just goes, "Okay." And then promptly turned on the 11 videos of how to play Blood Bowl.
Right. Well, that was another way to kill time driving down, is that GW does a good job with basically how to play series on all of their games.
Yeah.
And so I just mounted my phone in the middle of my dashboard and turned on the playlist by GW to play through the how to play Blood Bowl videos.
Yep.
And so we watched those on the way down, which it's not even, I don't even think it's 11. I think it's like 8 videos.
Probably.
It's a very short list. Yeah. It's not a complex game. The hardest part is when the ball bounces. Yeah. It's the most complex part in the whole game. God forbid you miss a pass or a pass gets like slapped out of the sky. The number of like random bounces and like drops and things that you have to do with the ball.
And then paying off officials or a crowd.
They didn't talk much about that.
Yeah,
but
well, we could do it.
Yeah. So anyways, we're probably rambling at this point. The point was Nova was very good. We really enjoyed it.
Had a great time. We'll be going back next year.
Absolutely. They're doing a new hotel next year. This year they were actually split between 2 hotels. They were between, what was it, the Renaissance and the Hyatt?
The Hyatt.
And next year it's at one hotel, the DC Hilton.
Yes, the Washington Hilton.
Washington Hilton. And it's a much larger hotel with a beautiful convention space that has like overhead colored lighting and uplighting, and it looks like a real convention center.
Yeah, if you go right onto their Facebook right now, they have a couple of photos posted up on it.
They went and did like a couple teaser pics for next year.
It looks great. I'm super excited. Cannot wait. we will have both our Blood Bowl teams and our 40k armies
In theory.
ready to play.
Yes. What was I going to say? Everybody on the crew, super nice people. We did a volunteer shift every day we were there, and we also did some just general hyping for them, walking around in the afternoons, trying to pass out flyers and tell people about different events that were going to be going on later that night, charity raffles, and what was one of the big ones they did was trivia.
Happy hour.
Happy hour, discounted drinks and food.
Nobody hates discounted drinks.
Constantly stuff going on.
And we did video.
Yep.
And we did some photos.
Yep. Giant painting contest there. Like I said, the vendors were really good. We talked to a handful of vendors.
Yeah. It was just great. It was a great time. We're
really
happy
weekend.
to go keep giving them our money.
Found an amazing Mexican place that we ordered food from twice.
God. Have you all ever heard of Mexican ramen?
Mexican ramen. And that's not even just like, that's not just how we're describing it. That's what it's called on the menu.
Literally called Mexican ramen.
Yeah, Mexican ramen and also Mexican pizza, but not the crappy Mexican pizza that you get from like a Taco Bell. This was a barria or a barria steak.
A barria steak.
Yeah, pizza. Very good. Ordered from there twice.
Yeah.
And also gorditas and tamales.
Yep.
It was very good Mexican food. I have a dry spot in my throat, so I'm going to drink some soda.
Oh.
But point being, it was a very good weekend.
Great weekend.
And we'll be going again.
And I would call it 10 out of 10.
Yeah. We really enjoyed working with the guys there. They're going to be working with CaptainCon. We have this kind of like mutual partnership going on where we help sponsor Nova Open. Nova Open helps sponsor CaptainCon.
We raffled off 10 tickets for CaptainCon at Nova.
At Nova, yep.
And then at CaptainCon, we're going to be raffling off, I believe, 10 tickets for Nova.
Yeah. So it's a nice little shared sort of appreciation support system that we have going on that we're developing. But anyways, yeah. So Nova was really good. I bought a Blood Bowl team. Bryant bought all of the new demon stuff
for
40k. I have a rule book for 40k, which I might read through at some point. They have just as nice a how to play video series for 40k as they do for Blood Bowl. So, and I've actually watched that. I distinctly remember there was one thing in it that I find absolutely silly as far as a play mechanic, but maybe I'll just get over it.
It could have also been FAQ'd already. So
it might have been FAQ. Well, it also might have been a previous edition. I don't know if it was 9th. It was like 2 years ago.
It might not have been 9th.
I can vaguely remember that it was something like if a single model in your unit is in melee range, then all models of your unit are in melee. And so a model that's like 10 inches away because you can daisy chains model in a unit can make a melee attack against the guy at the front.
That's fixed.
It was something weird like that.
That's fixed. It's been FAQ'd.
Okay. So anyways, I will probably get through that rulebook at some point or at least watch the tutorial videos online.
Yeah. Plenty of them.
And lots more that we're going to talk about coming up soon. Like I've been making these little trays for models. I made Bryant a really nice paint holder because he bought 75 separate, the entire paint line, right?
I bought, while we're at Gen Con, I bought the entire paint line of Monument Hobby.
Yeah, this is Monument Hobby right here.
Oh, thank you.
So yeah, 75 separate paint pots, all base size the same as a Citadel pot, but twice as large.
Well, to be fair, I have 75 because I had already previously bought some paints from last year's CaptainCon that I fell in love with. And so I decided just to rebuy the entire line again.
Right. Literally walked up to the Monument booth and said, I would like one of everything.
Yeah. And they were like, okay.
Yeah, which it wasn't even an uncommon thing. There were like 4 guys in line behind him that did the exact same thing.
They were like, we got another one.
Yeah. And the cool thing about Monument is other than being very nice paints that are half the price of Citadel paints that I think give you even better coverage when you actually look at them side by side.
I mean, they're 22 millimeter bottles. They're half the price. They have dropper bottles.
Yeah, dropper tops.
Caps.
I think that's much nicer than that stupid flap lid thing that Citadel has still been using.
Yeah, it
crusts over
or sometimes it doesn't even stay open. So.
Yeah, no. But also, they are made entirely in the U.S., right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe in Arizona.
Arizona. So that's cool. If you want to support U.S.-based companies, I realize there are people from outside the U.S. that are probably watching this video thinking, "Who the hell cares?" And we've been talking about GW this entire time, which are a British-based company. But still, it's cool that Monument Hobbies is based entirely in the U.S. for people that want to support that kind of thing. But yeah, built him a paint holder for that.
Yep.
Holds 75 paint pots vertically on end, so you can see their colors.
I've already started building. I just finished building and priming my first Bloodletter unit.
Yep.
So I'll be painting that this week.
And you also have your Blood Bowl team that you've assembled.
I have assembled. I just haven't painted them yet. I'm like getting sidetracked with a lot of chaos stuff.
Yeah, which is fair. But yeah, so lots to come, lots to cover. We've still been playing board games every week. We're trying to figure out some kind of a schedule that can include Bryant and gets me on somewhat more of a structured path, because right now I'm all over the place. Life has just gotten inconsistent.
A little hectic.
And so I need to have a set schedule for posts. And so right now, I think I texted you this earlier
Yes.
today. Right now, the plan is that we're going to do we or me, one or the other. If Brian's available, he'll obviously join in. But a post on a post on Mondays. That'll be something.
Yep.
A post on Wednesdays. That will be something. And then on Friday, it's either going to be a board game review or miniatures chat.
Yep.
Might be GW, might be War Machine, might be Blood Bowl.
It's going to be like miniature news.
Miniatures news, yeah. So we'll alternate board game reviews and miniature sort of news discussions, whatever.
You can also do like hobby progress.
Battle reports, things like that. Every other Friday. So one Friday will be a board game review, the next Friday will be miniature stuff, then board game review, back and forth. Mondays and Wednesdays we'll sort of leave open for whatever we're in the mood to discuss, whether it be little projects like this or RPGs or anything else.
Anything like
New
that.
Purchases, whatever.
And, to see any of our photos that we take, we're heavily on Instagram. We're using Vero.
Both on Instagram. So both on Instagram, because this is an important point.
Yeah.
Both on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, because that's where everybody has been forever now.
Yep.
But a lot of content creators recently have been hyping and shifting over to this new platform called Vero, Vero, and it's in its beta phase right now. But it's available on Apple and Android, and also has a full PC or iOS platform.
Yes.
So if you want to use it on your desktop, laptop, PC, or Apple system,
And when we say
you can.
when we say it's a desktop version, it's not just a blown up version like how Instagram,
Right.
when you look on
That's
it
the important thing.
online, it's just a blown up version of Instagram. This is a well done, well put together, fully functional website that is absolutely perfect for if you are serious about taking photos, want to see people who are serious about taking photos.
Video as well.
Video as
a lot
well.
of the features that have been missing from Instagram for years.
I think now you can do a 5-minute video on Vero.
5-minute video on Vero. So not just that TikTok nonsense where it's like a 30-second or a 1-minute video or like a 3-minute video if you're special. It's 5 minutes video.
Super easy to use.
You can share proper links that actually display the link content and are clickable and send you over to wherever they are. So like a YouTube link or whatever.
It's very user friendly.
Yeah, really nice
Like.
display. And just lots of great features. Very, very much what we all thought Instagram was going to be when Instagram first came out. A platform for photographers and sort of video and photo content creators.
The one of the things I love about it is that when you go onto when you're scrolling down your feed, there is no ads.
It's very, very light on ads.
There's I haven't seen a single ad, and I don't get suggested stuff that I don't
Constantly, yeah. Instagram has gotten to the point where it's basically trying to be TikTok 2.0, which is going to fail at because nobody's going to beat TikTok at being TikTok. I really don't want to say TikTok anymore. And the problem is that now that they're steering in that direction, they have to pull in the same kind of ad revenue and number of sponsorships that TikTok has. So when you're on Instagram, not only is it now showing you mostly content you didn't ask to see from creators you don't know, but it's something like, creator post ad, creator post ad, ad. It's like every third or even every other sometimes. There was piece of content that you see as an ad.
The other day,
or
I thought
something.
it was scrolling through it, and I was like, I don't know who any of these people are, and it's people who I'm not even following.
Right. So their algorithm and their whole design for their platform has gone off the rails, and Vero is trying to go back to the roots of what Instagram
Basically,
originally
what we're saying is Vero is awesome.
Right. Yeah.
You
Follow us on Vero. I've
looking
actually posted on Vero almost every day for the last week and a half, all gaming content.
I am slacking on Vero because I've been busy.
Well, you're also learning how to edit photos
Properly
with
edit
Lightroom
photo,
and even take photos using Pro Mode on your camera.
I'm more of the hype guy. I'm starting to learn how to do the technical stuff.
Exactly. So lots of stuff going on.
Yeah.
This has been quite a ramble, but hopefully you guys haven't gotten a little bit out of
apologize
this.
for the length of it, but there was a lot to get out.
Right.
Especially with bringing me on. We filmed this 4 times now.
Right. He probably broke a toe.
Most likely.
It's a long story. But anyways, I hope you guys are doing well, and I will see you. What's today? Today is Monday?
Today's Monday.
But obviously this isn't going up today. So let's say I get this up for Wednesday.
Right.
I will then try to have a board game review up for Friday. And maybe our first mini content will be next Friday.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's hope for that. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
But anyways, I'm Josh.
I'm Bryant.
And we will see you in the next one. Have a good night.
Later.